Till now, we've just made things work. In this section, we shall see how we build microservices the professional way. But what is the difference indeed? The difference is that we will now have no more hard coding. We will have configuration management set in, which will be able to work with different environments. We will have logging, which is properly configured in a professional microservices. It may change from service to service. We'll also see how to manage the context from the particular HTTP request. In the next section, we'll start seeing how to work with interfaces to do better unit testing, more flexibility and extensibility. We'll also learn about gRPC, service dependencies, splitting, managing, merging different functionalities into microservices, and finally, club it all together with authentication and authorization. So let's get started. The first and foremost, let's see how we can work with configuration files. Now, it is important that we maintain different configuration files for different environments. That's why we'll see how we've added an application.yml.default. Now, I'm sure most of you all already know what YML is, yet another markup language, and it's just easily readable. We'll add a new package called config, in which we will use this configuration from this file or from the environment and configure the entire system. In the previous section, you may have seen a lot of hard coding. This section, none of that. Let's begin with seeing what the application.yml looks like. As simple as a name-value pair, we are configuring all the hard-coded names that we have into this particular configuration. And this configuration is read in the config package. In the config package, we are going to see how all these different configurations are used. We are using this package called Viper, which is a very cool Golang package, which helps us work with different configurations. The load method is the public exported method which is going to be called. And we're going to configure the file name and read from various locations so it knows which the config path is. A very interesting method here is read in config, which is basically telling Viper that if you find application.yaml in this particular location, read it. Note that the config type is YAML, but it will also pick up the YML or YAML file. It's intelligent enough to pick up that. This line below is also very interesting. If you all are aware of what are 12-factor applications, no configurations are ever stored in files. They're always stored in environment variables. And if environment variables are picked up with a particular config path, which is set in caps with underscore and the ID, Viper will automatically pick up even the environment variables for your configuration. Here's a sample method called appName, which we are trying to read easily from the environment. These are also some easy usable routines which we have said and used for just our ease of purpose. It checks if a variable is set, if it's not set, panic, and this panic is at the start of a program, so it is valid, and then whether you want to read an integer or a string depends on the key that we are reading. Now, where is this used? Right in our main. As you can see, the first line, config.load. Config.load is now a new package, as we can see in this line here. And finally, once we load it, everything works as smooth as possible. We are good to go. The same thing started working without any hard coding. But are we sure there is no hard coding? I'm sure you remember the database instance that we have set up here. As you can see, no more hard coding. Everything is being read from the configuration file. Everything is read from the config for DB user, host, name, password, authentication mechanism. This is how we use configurations.